Well, God called me to ministry, and so if I go out in the marketplace and have a business, that is not ministry.
Yeah, and I think that, the other thing that we often have to unpack is our money mindset. Oftentimes we have a money story that we've been told, the love of money is the root of all evil. When people hate that and they think money is the root of all evil, no, it's not money. It's the love of money and how you put it before God. I always love to talk about the parable about those talents, right? And how it's like, okay, I've given you 1, I've given you 5, I've given you 10, it depends on which gospel you read, and you are able to multiply that. And so using other people's money, okay, and you're taking that money as a talent, you can take your talent, leverage other people's money to be able to multiply what it is that you put in.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Entre Pastors podcast on YouTube. I'm John Sanders. I'm one of the co-founders of Entre Pastors, and in this episode, you're going to be hearing from a special guest by the name of Katrina Fitton. Katrina runs a financial firm called New Day for You Financial, and she helps small business owners and entrepreneurs get the funding that they need to essentially get their dream off the launch pad and get that business up and going. And it's a great conversation. She also used to serve in ministry on staff at a church, so she understands the world that we are in as pastors, as ministry leaders who also want to be in a business context and making money, serving people out in the marketplace. So this is a great conversation, and I love this idea of a new day for you, especially as it pertains to your finances, because at Entre Pastors, that's our vision for many, many pastors who are just so tired of living paycheck to paycheck, being underpaid, barely making it financially. We think there's a new day, a better way of serving the Lord and serving other people, both in ministry and the marketplace. And rather than trying to help you figure out how to make more money, through the church you serve, not that there's anything wrong with being paid from your church, we just know there's a much healthier model, Pastor, and that's to get you out into the marketplace as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. And so we're huge fans of that. That's what we help people do. And incidentally, that's what Katrina helps people do in terms of getting the funding for their small businesses. So without any further ado, let's check out this conversation I had recently with my friend Katrina Fitton. Here we go. Well, Katrina, it is my pleasure to welcome you as a guest to the Entre Pastors podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. What part of the country are you in today as we're talking here?
Well, I'm actually in what they call hot Atlanta, but it's not as hot today. It's fall and the time just changed. So I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
Now, are you born and raised in Atlanta, or how did you end up in that part of the country?
No, actually, I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. My whole entire family are back in Texas, but I had a job offer many years ago that brought me to the Atlanta, Georgia area, and so I've been here probably about 16 years now.
Okay, so then the really important question: do you cheer for the Dallas Cowboys or the Atlanta Falcons, or none of the above?
Goodness. Oh, you just gave me a pain.
I already know the answer. Then you're having a rough year if you're a Cowboys fan.
Yeah. My husband had that game on, and I was trying to ignore it, right? And plus, guess who they were playing? Atlanta.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I told my husband, I said, so who are you rooting for? And I'm trying to project, right? I'm like, who are you rooting for today? We're both in Atlanta. I mean, I'm in Georgia, but I'm from Texas. So who are we rooting for today? And he was like, I don't know who you rooting for. I'm rooting for Atlanta because I've been in Atlanta most of my life. So, and I know you're probably in between because you've been in Texas longer than you've been in Georgia. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't know. It's just the game was just not a good game on both sides, really. And I think Atlanta kind of picked it up the second half. But yeah, I'm kind of one of those fair weather fans. It's like sometime when they're doing good, I am rooting for them, and when they're not, I'm just like, who is the Cowboys? I don't even know.
That must be nice to be able to do that. You may notice for our YouTube audience, right behind me on the shelf, I've got a Minnesota Vikings helmet back there. That
I see it.
Struggle and disappointment and challenge challenges and discouragement and all the above, because I've been a Vikings fan my whole life. And
Oh, wow.
anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
Let's
exactly.
talk about more important stuff than football.
Exactly.
So you have a business that I believe may be of interest to many in our audience, which we'll get to that in just a little bit. But I also understand that you have a background in ministry as well, and I'd love to unpack that a little bit, and then we'll get to the business side of things. So tell us a little bit of your story, if you don't mind unpacking that for us.
Wow, John, this is truly an honor because, as you know, we don't always get to kind of dig into this part of me. So this would probably be new to some of my audience, and they don't really know. But essentially, I got saved right in my beginning years of college. Grew up in Texas. I was literally going to a junior college at the time and got this really, really awesome full ride scholarship to Texas A&M University. And so from there is where really my relationship with God really catapulted, but being around a lot of like-minded people. I used to sing in a choir and met a lot of pivotal people in my college years. And the reason why that's important is because when I met those ladies, individuals who are friends still today, we're all in ministry. And so, but what happened to me is I was a part of a church organization where I was with them for about 20 years. And within that organization, one of the young ladies they left to start a church plant, right, in Tyler, Texas. And so she needed an assistant to help her along with that journey and that vision. And so we were really good friends. I used to go with her on preaching assignments and, be her armor bearer. And I would just help with the table selling cassette tapes. I don't know if anybody remember that.
I do.
Okay, yeah, selling cassette tapes and CDs and things of that nature, books and stuff. And so I would always travel with her. So she was like, man, I wish you could come here to help me. And so I was like, well, okay. And so I decided to actually leave because I was in ministry, really, kind of an evangelist, and I would speak at churches and things of that nature. But when I went there to be an assistant pastor, this was way different, right? So now you're actually responsible for people and really, helping her from an administrative point and, putting things together, like conferences and, how we have revivals and all of the things. And so during that time is the time when I really had a pivotal moment in my life because I always, because back then they used to call it marketplace ministry, right? But we don't like to call it that because it's just souls, right? It's just who are you called to serve, and it's ministry, is work that you do. And so when I was there, that's when I actually lost my job. And so during that time, it was very interesting because I felt like, okay, if I transitioned here, I did exactly what the Lord told me to do, thing would be uphill from here, right? Because when you do what God tell you to do, it's obedience, you would come into Canaan, right? You would come into, this abundance and it would be so awesome. But the opposite happened, John.
Yep.
The opposite happened and I was tested. My faith was tested. And when I got laid off, I literally, with experience, degrees, certification, and all of the things, no door would open up for me. But what that did for me is it allowed me an opportunity to really deepen my relationship with God. Because why? I was at every prayer on Tuesday night. I was at noonday prayer. I was at all of the things. And really, I remember during that time, I was so down. I was went into depression. I went into just being discouraged and despondent. At the same time, I was doing ministry. So that was what was happening behind the scenes. But obviously on the stage and all of the things, it was wonderful. But what I learned after, obviously staying there for a few years and assisting her, I ended up having to go back to Texas because they wasn't in a financial place. And we've talked about that. Ministry is oftentimes kind of going from Sunday to Sunday, right? And so they wasn't really in a really good financial space to be able to have me on full-time salary or anything like that. And so I ended up, after prayer and, permission, hey, I think I'm gonna have to go back to Tyler. And I commuted for a while, but then after that assignment ended. That's how it all began, by going through that trial while I was there that really started me on the trajectory trajectory of where I am today because of that experience.
So one theme I'd love to unpack there, and I'll just give a little bit of commentary that we see a lot of our clients that come to us, pastors, people that have been in vocational ministry for a long time. Many of them come for financial reasons, at least initially. They resonate with our message of, hey, you don't have to be broke, and because you said yes to serving the Lord. But then here's where we almost instantly see a mindset struggle for many of them, and that is this. Well, God called me to ministry, and so if I go out in the marketplace and have a business, that is not ministry. Then no one ever says it that overtly, because when you hear yourself say it out loud, it's like, well, wait a minute, that's not actually true.
Exactly.
But there's a huge underlying belief that ministry happens in the church. It's just a few of us are called to this, and we do it, and we don't get paid very well for it. And then everyone else, I guess I don't know what they do, but it's not ministry because they're just out in the marketplace building businesses and doing that. Did you ever struggle with any of that as you had that kind of shift away from, working in and a part of a church team in that world and back into business? Did you feel like I'm leaving ministry?
Yes, 100%. You nailed it, John, because, we were always taught that. I don't know if we were taught it. It's just what we saw. What we saw was everybody that was in ministry was behind a pulpit. And everybody, they would go from one pulpit to somebody else's pulpit, and it would be within the confines and the walls of a church. Right. And so you were doing things to help people to get in the church. If you did do evangelistic type things like I did, going to feed the homeless, shelters, all of the things. But I just didn't know. It was always to get people to the church. It was just like, that's the only mission that you had. And so with my father was an entrepreneur, so I knew I had the entrepreneur bug. Right. And even during those years, I had an opportunity to help with a printing company. And so I did that for a little small season, but I never equated it to ministry at all. Right. You're serving people, you have clients, you have a mission that you're trying to serve them, but I never equated that to ministry. So I had it in one box in the other box. Right. And so I didn't really come into knowledge of what my calling was until I had this trial. Because why? I felt like I had been, let down and betrayed and all of the church hurt type things that I had gone through. But what happened is that instead of me focusing on what I had gone through, I really asked the Lord why that he allowed that to happen. And what came out of that was that, hey, I want to teach you this thing, and that is, because struggle teaches us a lot of things. And what it taught me is that, Katrina, the lesson is you never want to have one stream of income. That's what the lesson came out of. And I was like, you're right. Because if I had multiple streams when I lost my job, it would have been a no-brainer. It's just like, okay, shift to the next one. And, you're continually adding streams so that you're not just, because most people, we were taught what? Go to school, go to college, get a job. That's all we were taught. And so that was going to be your mainstream of income. And obviously you may have had a little 401k or a little savings on the side, but, maybe sell Mary Kay or Avon or something, some type of something like that. But it wasn't like a full-blown entrepreneurship. Like you could literally have a entrepreneur journey where you could literally have ministry and serve a purpose and a mission with your business. That never occurred to me. Never.
Yeah. So today, I'm assuming you would see that very differently. Like today, you probably don't have the narrative of I left ministry to go into business. I'm guessing you probably see yourself in a ministry role as a part of business, yes?
100%. It's like the way I present myself. Our company has values, right? And we have values that are aligned with scripture. And we don't often say it with scripture, but it is values, integrity and, all of the things that our values are. And we tend to really attract those individuals who have those same values. So therefore, within our community and within, conversations that I have with our clients, we are often have the liberty to oftentimes obviously have prayer. We have money scriptures, I mean, all of the things. And those are the people that we attract. There are people who really have a bigger mission than just really getting the funding, but we always, during our sales call or our consultations, we often say, what is the mission for your money? Because we don't like to just give people money just to give people money, because we believe that money has a purpose, and we want to make sure that that money is going towards a purpose that's going to upbuild the kingdom and whatever kingdom that they've been assigned to. Is it in the finance industry? Is it in the entertainment industry? Is it in the, whatever the cause is? We want to make sure that the money that we help people to get the funding, we want to make sure it's going towards a mission. And we like to have that relationship over years so we can say, oh, wow, we see the manifestation of what it has, the money was used towards. And it's like, oh my God, that was able to help you to leverage to get there quicker. So we like to have that type of relationship. But yes, most definitely, that is what we believe. We believe that we are actually funding dreams. You have a vision, you wrote the vision down and you've made it plain. We want to help you to bring that vision to pass. And oftentimes people are overlooking funding because they don't realize what's available.
Okay. Well, we're going to explore that here real quick. I want to get into more of the specifics of the business that you are building right now. And you've given us a few little snapshots of what that might be. But I do want to just back up real quick and highlight one more theme that you mentioned a minute ago. It's this common mantra that we've grown up with in modern history that, go to school, go to college, get a degree, go work for the company for 30, 35 years, retire. And what we're finding is that for many people, that's really not good advice. Many people have been hurt financially, and just there's probably a better way. The only thing, and that's just broad, wisdom for the masses. But then if we focus in on vocational pastors, that's even worse because, in my opinion, if I can just be blunt, because the one client that you have, if I can speak in business terms, is a church that is completely funded off of the charitable contributions of other people. And I have no issue with people giving. We're all about celebrating generosity. But when that funding model has proven to be very problematic for pastors because it doesn't pay very well, the earning potential is very low. And I'm not even here to debate whether or not that's a good thing. It is what it is. So for so many pastors, we're trying to help them break out of that, being stuck in that place where you have one client that doesn't pay that well to begin with, and it's the 100% dependence that you have is on that one thing. We've heard way too many stories of pastors who were already underpaid and then just have their legs taken out from under them financially when the church says we can't afford to pay you anymore, or we're letting you go. And again, I'm not here to unpack all of the negativity of that, other than to celebrate what you said, and that is this idea of having multiple streams of income. We talk about that on a regular basis on this show and with our clients. And we see business as being a good way to turn, a good direction to turn for those multiple streams of revenue, instead of having one funding model, which is, hey, we're going to pass the offering plates and pray that, we have enough in the plate to put some money in our own pocket by the time all the bills are paid at church. So anyway, that's just, I wanted to kind of say that if there's new listeners that are brand new to the show, I want them to kind of get kind of a vibe of what we celebrate. So wanted to affirm that. Anything you want to add to that before we move on to jump into your business here?
Yeah. And I think that, the other thing that we often have to unpack is our money mindset, right? Oftentimes we have a money story that we've been told when we were a little child, right? We've heard the sayings of that, the love of money, is the root of all evil, and, all of the things, when people take that and they think money is the root of all evil. No, it's not money. It's the love of money and how you put it before God, and obviously greed and all of the things that are attached to it. But if you can I always love to talk about the parable about about those talents, right? And how it's like, okay, I've given you 1, I've given you 5, I've given you 10, it depends on which gospel you read, and you are able to multiply that. And so this is what I mean when I say a vehicle of being able to use funds that are given to you by what we call OPM, other people's money, whether it be the banks or credit unions or whoever the banking institution is, using other people's money, okay? And you're taking that money as a talent, meaning your return on your investment, your return on the capital that you got received, you're doubling it. Your money is making money, right? And so that's the concept that I'm trying to get across, is that you can take your talent, leverage other people's money to be able to multiply what it is that you put in, right? Yeah. And as you know, the story goes, those that multiplied it, they got more. But the one that kind of held it back and was, not giving and didn't utilize that talent, that was given to the ones who had multiplied.
Well, then that's a great jumping off point to go deeper into the business that you're building. So tell us more about what you do and how you got into it. I'd love to hear the story.
Yeah. So the story about when, obviously I learned that, hey, multiple streams of income was the crux of what it is that I had missed. And so that allowed me the opportunity to then go all in. I already had like an economics degree. I've been, through my professional career, being able to oversee, multi-million-dollar budgets and all of the things. So I had a financial astuteness about me, but what I wanted to know is more about financial literacy, and the thing that I was not taught, that was not talked about in my home or nor in the schools or in college, right? So we didn't know. So I really dove into really having a financial fluency, meaning that I wanted to learn about finances. I wanted to become astute. I wanted to become certified as a master financial coach. And I did just that. And literally turned around my whole financial situation personally. And I started helping other people to do it for free, right? And it was like, well, wow, I'm like, well, why don't I just, use this as a consulting? And I began to start obviously having consulting fees for it. But then from there, I started helping people, and they was like, I don't have enough income. And I was like, okay, I guess I better tell them, you need to have multiple streams. And then that's when I was like, okay, I need to start helping people to be able to get funding for their business, because they wanted to and they desired to start a business, but they just didn't have the money to be able to do it. And so that's when obviously I had a coach that helped me from a financial standpoint. And he was like, Katrina, people are overlooking, I'm not trying to say the rich, but he said, let the poor say that I am rich. So I most definitely don't say I'm poor. I say I am rich, right? And so he said, do the things that the rich do, obviously within the confines of spirituality and having the right values and doing it in a way for good stewardship and all of the things. But one of the principles that I learned is that they use other people's money in order to acquire assets, to do things that will bring them rate on return of whatever it is that they put in there. And so I was like, oh, wow. And so I said, well, let me do it. And so what I did, I said, I'm going to get a term loan to be able to help me to get more people on my team, to help me from advertisement and marketing, website, all of the things, systems and operations in the back end of my business, so that I could reach more, I could have fulfill on my promises better and quicker and all of the things. And really in entrepreneurship, self-development and masterminds, all of the things to help me to grow, and literally by utilizing funding to help me to get there quicker, giving me access to those tools and people and places and things, that allowed me to really 10x my business, just because I stepped out on faith to use somebody else's money, put it into something at a mission that was going to work, and it literally caused my business to grow because of it. And so that I said, I got to teach this concept to someone else. And so I literally partnered with other banking institutions as well under the tutelage of my mentor. And now I have access to those same funds to help people to be able to get that. And so literally you have a 650 credit score or above, we're able to help you to get funds via credit cards, lines of credit, loans, SBA loans, you have collateral which you can leverage against, all of those things. We're able to, because of the relationships we have, we're able to get people those funds. And so just the last year, we've funded over $1 million with our clients just by helping them to be able to get the connections to the banking institution that you can't get just by walking inside of the bank.
How do people find out about you? How do you get the word out about your business other than being on this podcast? Because you'll probably be famous now.
Absolutely. We obviously have our website. It's New Day for You Financial, which it was a new day for me. So I was like, New Day for You, but newdayforyoufinancial.com. On that website, there is an access to schedule an appointment, as well as you are able to get a free access to what we call our 20-step business structure blueprint. Because the other thing, John, is this: most people don't know how to structure their business. That's why they're often denied, is because they don't know how to structure their business properly in order for them to qualify for the access of these funds. And in addition, bonus point, you can literally build your business credit. Just like you have a personal credit and it's attached to your social security number, well, when you have a business, you have something called an EIN number, and your business credit is attached to that. And you can build your business credit that would unleash the next slew of funding that you can get from vendors and gas cards. And I mean, it's so many things that are out there that are available for business owners. And not to even mention that the funding is not even, you don't even have to pay taxes on it. Because why? Money you pay back, So it's just really a smart, strategic way. If you have a mission that is going to bring you back cash so that you can pay it off, there's no early repayment fee or anything like that. But it's just a tool for people who are good stewards over what the Lord has given you to do, that you're able to get the access to those funds.
I'm going to ask two questions. One's going to be maybe a little bit more on the negative side, and then the other one will be more positive. So the first question is, have you ever had to tell somebody no? And if so, like, what was it about? You don't want names or specifics, but what was it about them that you said, no, we're not really going to help you get funding because of XYZ? And then the other one would be, tell me a story about someone that you did get funding for and maybe a success story of where they are and how they're thriving as a result of the help you were able to get to them in getting their business up and off the ground.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the examples of someone that we would not immediately help them to get access to funding would be because they don't have a clear vision. They do not have a clear vision on what it is. They just need money. Okay, we all need money. But these funds are for the purpose of you to be able to actually do something in your business, right? And so if you're not clear on what it is that your vision is and what you're trying to accomplish and how you're going to monetize that, then we can help you from what we call our Dreamers Academy, where we can help you to, actually put together your business plan, help you to kind of identify and get clarity. And that's what we essentially call our call, is a funding clarity call. And that's what we're trying to identify. Do you have an actual way to monetize what it is that you do so that we know that you're going to pay the money back? Because we don't give out loans that, obviously you can't qualify for and not be able to make good on your word, right? And so that's one example of someone that we wouldn't give funds immediately unless they, and we will help you to get there as well. Number two is we have so many that have been successful with their funding. So one of my favorite clients, her name is Angeline. She has an accounting firm. And so she does bookkeeping, she does taxes, and she does tax strategy. And so what she had come to me about was, she was like, Katrina, I want to expand my business to do more of the tax strategy. And so I want to do a rebranding of my business. And so we were able to get her first round was $160,000 of funding. And then to date, she has gotten over 260 of funding in total over the last year. And what she's done, she's totally rebranded her business to become a tax strategist, meaning she's helping businesses is to take advantage of the tax code so that they can pay as less taxes as possible. And so now she's now able to not only just have waiting on tax season or just have, bookkeeping clients. Now she's able to have a more high ticket offer and service her high, level clients to be able to save. She's going to be in my summit next month, and she's actually helping them to write off almost everything in their business and just helping them for their strategy of their business. So, and that's a success story because she's actually took those funds and now she's already, in the trajectory of paying those off way ahead of time. So it's just an awesome testimonial. And obviously she's a woman of faith as well. So we're able to really give glory to God just for that opportunity. And so she's actually one of the key people that I always talk about because of her success story.
Well, when we get done with this call, you may need to connect me with her because I'm actually looking for exactly that for a business that I'm starting up right now. So
I will. I surely will.
That connection.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying about, maybe you would say no to someone who doesn't have a clear funding model for how they're going to be paid. That resonated with me. And I'll say this doesn't apply to all pastors who come to us, but it's another kind of common struggle we see with our people, with our community, is they have been so accustomed to nonprofit and working, really devaluing their time and their effort that when we help them start thinking more entrepreneurially and like launching a business as a business owner, for some, it really is a struggle for them to build an offer where they're actually getting paid because they have the service part down. They have the, work for free part down. What they don't have often is, oh, you mean I actually can get paid for this and be profitable in this? And we have to help coach them around that. Like, yes, like you're starting a business, not a charity, not a nonprofit. That resonates with me that if we're going to launch a business, it does need to have a funding model and a way to actually receive
monetize it,
paid for what you're doing. So
yeah, absolutely. So and then the awesome part about it is that if you can monetize your business in a way where it becomes profitable, then you could literally take the profits from your business and donate it towards your foundation or a cause that you are really behind. And so having a business is very instrumental. If you look at all the disciples, I mean, these people were business people, and so you're really, you wouldn't have money changers or you wouldn't have a treasurer if you didn't have money, right? And so you want to be able to have multiple streams, multiple ways where you can make money. And then if you become profitable, you can still utilize the profit towards being able to donate towards whatever cause that you want to do to help from a nonprofit standpoint.
For sure. Do you have a specific clientele and like a specific caricature of someone that or avatar, that's the word I'm looking for, an avatar of someone that you prefer to work with your firm there, or are you open to anyone?
Yeah, so we're open to obviously anyone as a financial funding firm. And so we obviously, if you qualify, if you have 650 or above on your credit score and you make at least $40K a year, we can get anyone some type of funding. However, our ideal client has always been to the women entrepreneurs who, just do not realize. And that's kind of our sweet spot because, of course, that's, where I came from. However, we do have, it's probably about 80-20 in our clients right now, but we have really opened up to more men in the last year or so because it's essentially, funding, obviously it doesn't have a sex on it, it's just like, hey, we help you to be able to get the funding that you need. And so we also help people if they're trying to do real estate, people who need $1 million, funding deals and things of that nature. We help from that perspective as well. But our sweet spot is just to help people to kind of get started is mainly the big, I guess you call the demographics of who we help. Because obviously that's where people, they kind of like, I just need some money to get started, or either when they have sometimes people have cash flow deficits, right? Some months you have, where income is good, revenue is good, and other months where there's not. Well, we help people, during their times of cash flow deficit, right? So we're able to, if you have a certain number of revenue, we're able to give you, money against that as well. So we always call it the 3 C's. needs. If you have cash, credit, or collateral, we can help you.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Katrina, this has been fun hanging out with you and hearing a little bit of your story. If someone wanted to connect with you and learn more about you and the services that you offer, what's the best way for them to reach out and get connected?
Yes, the best way to reach out is just go to newdayforyoufinancial.com. And we have some free resources there, as well as a way to connect with us on a free clarity call as well. And talk about your situation, right? And see what we can do to be able to get you the services. And if we don't, not able to assist you, we most definitely will connect you with someone who can.
I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on. And I guarantee that your story is going to be an encouragement to some. And quite frankly, we'll probably have people reaching out to you as well, because I think that you might be in a perfect position to help some of the people in our community. So thank you so much, Katrina.
Thank you.